My name is Cooper Scanlon, co-founder of Movement Labs. A bit about me, I was one of the first builders in the Move ecosystem. I fell in love with the language for its performance, security, and really being something that could be the next wave within Web3 at the cutting edge of the cutting edge. And so I started building within the Move ecosystem, building one of the first DeFi primitives in the space. And in that experience, I felt some pain points with regard to the way that Move was brought to market, specifically being within monolithic networks that are necessarily competing with established networks and frameworks for their users, for their developers, and most importantly, for liquidity. And so, having launched within a bear market, very deep within a bear, made it really difficult for me as an application builder to onboard those key metrics, onboard that key infrastructure that I needed to succeed. And so that's what inspired Movement Labs, decoupling the virtual machine from any single network, making it portable, plug and play, and being able to bring Move everywhere. So, really excited to share our recent partnership and future collaborations with Pyth, which is going to be the premier Oracle provider on the Movement network, supporting applications, networks, as well as frameworks, and with actionable, high quality, fast and pricing data supporting their operations. So you can think of us sort of like an Amazon for Move, in which this modular framework that we're building is being delivered to the front door of builders, users, and everyone else, wherever they are within Web3. So Amazon, it's a data-driven business that's become very adept at leveraging not only the intersections of different data, but also cascading that between different operations and the various nodes within their infrastructure. And data, its programmability, verifiability, and speed at which it's being guaranteed is what Web3 and blockchain is founded upon. And it's a key area in which Pyth is innovating right now. And we're excited to combine our synergies here. So Pyth delivering this uniform and low latency data feed throughout the different networks, applications, and derivatives is really going to supercharge the ability of builders within our ecosystem to bring their applications to market, as well as to have an edge over the competition, particularly in other networks. So all of this information around data is also central to why the Move language is so important. So over $3 billion were stolen last year. There's a reentrancy attack almost every other week, it seems. Recently, we're seeing even some OG protocols in which a lot of other protocols have forked and built their code bases off of was hacked for a significant amount. And its effects are rippling through the DeFi ecosystem right now. So with the Move language, you have a lot of baked in security mechanisms. For example, reentrancy attacks simply not being possible. And the reason being, it was designed by Facebook's best engineers to stand on the shoulders of last generation smart contracts, as smart contract development languages such as Solidity and Rust, to solve for the pain points and shortcomings that we see, as well as innovate on top of that as well, which is why you're seeing so many yeses on one side and so many nos on the other. It was specifically developed for a project called Libra or Diem, which was going to be Facebook's payment blockchain. So they put a lot of capital, a lot of their best engineering talent into developing this language. Fortunately, was shut down by the US government and then later came to market as Aptos and Sui, and is now coming directly to Ethereum and other EVM-based networks with Movement. So you can see huge developer growth rates for the Move language. Once you try it, you don't really want to go back because it's a much more intuitive development experience. It's pretty easy to learn, as well as is blockchain native. So in terms of the syntax and the development, it makes sense And with some other languages, they can become quite abstract. You don't really know what's going on, and it's not very intuitive. It's the complete opposite with Move, being able to be picked up in just a few weeks if you know Rust, a couple months if you're starting out new. So developers, they want to be on the very cutting edge, right? And so we're coming to this language and we're making it so that the network effects of Move can be combined with the already established and grown networks that exist in the Web3 space. So this is culminating in M2. It's the first layer 2 on Ethereum that is integrating Celestia and others for data availability. We have Snowman for shared sequencing and the Move virtual machine for execution. So we're essentially bringing together the best of all worlds and that we see here. Developers are going to be able to choose between different variations of the Move language, both Move on Aptos and Move on Sui. They'll be able to pick different data availability partners to leverage, which we're announcing over the coming weeks, as well as we'll be extending the Snowman consensus, which has made a lot of innovations in the consensus space to be faster and more scalable than others here. So this is an overview of the framework that we're building with. And within it, we're going to have builders launching applications, networks, or app chains of their own, as well as their own frameworks, which are going to be leveraging a variety of next generation machines, including Move on Aptos and Move on Sui. So what's really exciting here is that in addition to applications and app chains, we have builders that are launching kind of their own toolkits and own frameworks in which other applications or other first-time builders are going to be able to more easily bring complex applications to market, as well as be able to plug into different toolkits and different existing frameworks within this, further scaling the different network effects that we will be seeing within the movement network. So you can see M1 and M2, we are going to be bringing these together to create one symbiotic network in which data availability through our different partners are going to be connecting these in the future unveiling of our shared sequencing architecture as well. So a bit about this shared sequencing. What we're really excited about regarding Snowman is being the fastest and most scalable consensus mechanism that exists within the market, proprietary of the Avalanche network and blockchain. So notably, this is using a gossip model, which can consistently verify transactions with sub-second finality, which you don't need to pull every single validator, which also means that it's able to scale past 100 validators, where with traditional Nakamoto consensus, you're generally capped at 100, because as you have more validators that you need to pull, the time to finality, it increases with that. It doesn't increase at the same rate, and with Snowman at a much slower rate. So if you look at Avalanche, they've got over 1,000 validators right now, being able to be significantly decentralized in that validation process. And that's something that we're going to be able to extend to Ethereum as well, combining the security, the Ethereum validators with the scalability and decentralization of them itself. So our array of brand new Move-based decentralized apps, games, consumer-oriented applications, and financial products are going to be leveraging our open framework and now are capable of deploying on top of ETH there. So beyond this Move stack that we're bringing to market, our Movement SDK also supports a product called Fractal, which turns Solidity code into Move. So these existing Solidity applications can frictionlessly launch on top of our network, leverage Move's performance and security without having to write a single line of Move code. So these Ethereum applications that want to boost their performance and security, even have new narratives that they can share with their ecosystem and their consumers, are going to be finding this an invaluable tool for accessing the Move stack and its advantages without having to depart from their native network or change any of their tooling. So in terms of this tooling that we're bringing as well, any developer is able to integrate with our open framework and access all other integrations that are currently plugged in. So we see this right now with the different data availability components that exist within the Move stack, being able to choose between networks such as Celestia, Avail, Near, and some others that we'll be announcing pretty shortly. It's right at your fingertips with the Movement SDK. And we're really excited that now Pyth is going to be included in that. So we envision builders of other frameworks such as gaming or DeFi toolkits to be building further toolkits that are leveraging Pyth and are going to be powering use cases that are then going to be cascading throughout our ecosystem as we have more folks and applications and plugging into those open frameworks, using those toolkits, having better connectivity between each other with Pyth as just a rock solid foundation for displaying those price feeds and maintaining that price consensus between these applications. So also Movement Labs and Pyth, we share a notable partner being Wormhole. So right now Pyth is leveraging Wormhole to scale across different blockchains. So they're actually using price outputs as transactions and leveraging sub-second finality as latency as well on that front. And so as Movement Labs and Wormhole are currently already exploring some creative solutions in cross VM and cross chain technologies regarding the network as a whole, we're excited to be further collaborating with Pyth to create some even more stellar financial offerings and products for folks within our ecosystem to be able to leverage. So one of the other benefits that we're bringing to market here is that we're bringing parallel processing to EVM. So we're boosting performance by 10 to 100 times generally on these networks. And some close tests, we were able to be pushing pretty early on. This was over the summer. We were pushing about 3,000 TPS sequentially, and we were able to boost that to over 140,000 in the very early stages of our parallel processing implementation. So we've been able to scale this further recently and boost this even more with the extension of our Snowman consensus to the Ethereum blockchain. And with these other data availability partners, which we're working with, this can actually go even higher. So we're incredibly excited by this high throughput that we'll be pushing here, as well as the use cases that we're bringing across market for DeFi gaming and NFTs. And at this point, security is a selling point with all of the hacks that we've seen. So we provide a lot of security assurances to consumers using different DeFi products, as well as having significantly faster TPS and parallelized environment, opening the door to some novel applications being built. So for example, there's some really cool central limit order books, as well as clams, which don't use a central order book, but instead are using some mathematical functions to provide these different pricings within DEXs. And so with these applications and the higher throughput, they're able to do some pretty novel things with the Move language as well. So one of these protocols building on us is the interest protocol. So highly recommend checking that out. They're actually on our DevNet right now. You're already able to play around with the application, test different things there. And they're an incredible team. Also live on Sui right now additionally. So highly recommend checking them out. Great team builders. On the gaming side, Move is also highly optimized for this. And given that developers with Move, they don't have to worry about external tech stacks with regard to data storage because of the way that Move is handling objects. So what that means for developers is that you get to build the game that you're passionate about building, and you don't have to worry about all of these other cumbersome kind of hassling things that are a necessity to take care of with general frameworks. But with the Move language, you're able to build much more efficiently, much more effectively, as well as simply being more optimized for the transferring of assets between different parties. Parallel processing enables you to reduce bottlenecks as games and consumer products are scaling. And additionally, we have dynamic NFTs, which are upgradable and programmable without having to invoke a transaction. And so on both sides of typical bottlenecks that you see being a high number of transactions with a high number of users for a game, as well as all of those users then changing their NFTs, swapping them out, you have to mint and burn them. You have parallel processing, reducing bottlenecks on one side, and on the other, absolutely zero transactions with regard to upgrading NFTs through this dynamic structure. Then from the NFT side, these dynamic NFTs, we're seeing some pretty interesting teams such as Gilder use these in a more social consensus mechanism. So for example, if you're a speedrunner, or let's say you're doing no-hit runs on Dark Souls, right? That's something that has much interest and very big community surrounding it, but you don't get an achievement generally for doing a no-hit run. You don't get an achievement in game for beating a world record. And so dynamic NFTs are a really cool way, as well as NFTs in general, for you to take these from game or from some social proving mechanism. And maybe it's a leaderboard, maybe it's some verifying party. You can take it to the forums, you can take it anywhere you go and be able to take this reputation with you to other places. So Gilder is also helping folks find other gamers, similar skill levels, create guilds, if you will, with that. So another exciting team that's launching on top of us and leveraging the Move language to upgrade what they're doing here. So sneak peek at the ecosystem, we've got a lot of different teams that are building on us. The one that we will share, of course, is Pyth here. But that's a little alpha for everyone who's tuned in here. Across this, we've got a lot of teams from Move ecosystems, as well as from different EVM environments that are really excited to be able to upgrade their code bases, come to market with a new polished coat of paint, if you will. Some of them even launching sister protocols that are then going to be leveraging their already existing household names that they're building on top of ETH, because we've got full communicability between our Move environments and there. So really recommend staying tuned. And for any builders that are out there, we'd be keen to support you to plug into the movement network. Can provide engineering resources and help walk through that integrations process, as well as provide a lot of support in various functions. So reach out to us if that is you. In terms of our roadmap, we've already developed our MoveVM prototype, and we're currently on DevNet. So coming up, we're going to be launching an incentivized testnet and expansion with M2 pretty shortly, as well as in the future, going live on mainnet, implementing IBC so that we'll be able to access Cosmos ecosystem and expand the network effects of Move, the movement network, as well as all of the tools and frameworks building on top of us into Cosmos ecosystem, as well as launching this Move stack, which is going to enable builders to launch their own rollups within us, helping further propagate this ecosystem of various networks and frameworks that are going to be building on top of us. So the bottom line here, we're combining Aptos and Sui, both variants of Move. We're modularizing them and making it interoperable with Ethereum and other EVM-based networks. We're bringing on these projects and users from multiple ecosystems quite agnostically, all rallying behind this umbrella of the Move language and the security and performance that it brings. All of these folks going to be ready and eager to use the suite of frameworks that we are launching, as well as that other builders are going to create around really powerful toolkits such as Pyth here. Our movement SDK is making the communication between the different virtual machines. So the Move-based network and then the respective networks that we're plugged in on top of, it's going to be plug and play. We're going to have atomic swaps as well there. That's something that we're really excited to share more about a little early next year. And this liquidity hub that we're creating is going to serve as a strong foundation for omni-chain Move integrations and rollups. And so the folks who are launching app chains and networks on top of us, it's not going to only be confined to single locations. They're going to be launching everywhere that Move is, on every chain that Move is. And we're going to have not only really strong composability and interoperability between them, but actually a fully unified liquidity and user environment. So as opposed to the traditional fragmentation that we see, and generally with modular ecosystems and networks, you're not splitting your base. You're instead onboarding an entirely new user base to your product, liquidity base to your product, such that we're building and launching the most scalable as well as most sustainable blockchain that's been brought to market. And want to emphasize the key here is that what we are pushing and what this is predicated on is this Move smart contract development language. So we're not tied to any ecosystem. We're not locked into any single layer one, such that this is able to scale and onboard folks much more organically in a much more collaborative than competitive space, and in such a way that everyone can get behind and everyone can win and have a place at the table here, right? So it really is an honor to get to work with Pyth and bringing some of the best infrastructure to the applications and the builders and that are launching on top of us. We are incredibly excited to see the products that people are going to build with Pyth frameworks, supporting other builders bring their applications to market. And it's really exciting and an honor to be a part of this developer conference, share a bit about the Movement Network, and let you all in on a little bit of alpha as to what's coming here at Movement Labs and the Movement Network. So thank you.